Hello everyone. Today I want to talk about how Japan tried to persuade Asian leaders not to attend China's military parade, but ultimately failed. In addition, there's a major showdown between China and the US over AI chips, and British media have revealed that Beijing's AI chip production capacity is set to surge. It seems that China and the US still haven't settled things. With the upcoming September 3rd military parade, it reminds people of what happened 10 years ago in 2015. On September 3rd of that year, China held a military parade to commemorate the 70th anniversary of the victory in the War of Resistance, and at that time, President Xi had only been in office for just over 2 years. At the beginning of that year, China's development momentum was very strong, having established the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, and even the UK expressed interest in joining. But by June, a stock market crash broke out on the mainland. The Shanghai Composite Index plummeted from its June high of 5,178 points to a low of 2,850 points on August 26th, a sharp drop of 45% in just 2 months. As a result, the September 3rd military parade later on also felt rather subdued. Only a few major world leaders attended the parade in Beijing: Russian President Vladimir Putin, South Korean President Park Geun-hye, and Belarusian President Alexander Lukashenko. 10 years later, times have changed, and the world is now a very different place. On August 28th, Beijing announced that 26 foreign heads of state and government would attend the September 3rd parade commemorative event. Although Beijing did not invite US President Trump, it was only natural that America's staunch allies in Europe and Asia would not attend either. However, many other prominent heads of state will be attending, including Russian President Putin, North Korean Workers' Party General Secretary Kim Jong-un, Indonesian President Prabowo, Malaysian Prime Minister Anwar, Vietnamese President Lam Quang, Pakistani Prime Minister Kakar, Kazakh President Tokayev, Serbian President Vučić, Slovak Prime Minister Fico, and Iranian President Pezeshkian, among others. Prior to this, Japan made a subtle move. While Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba claimed to reflect on the lessons of World War II, he was simultaneously trying to prevent other countries from attending China's military parade. On August 24th, Kyodo News quoted multiple diplomatic sources as saying that the Japanese government had already called on European and Asian countries through diplomatic channels not to participate in China's commemorative events and military parade. According to Kyodo News, Japan has explained to various countries through its embassies abroad that China's event is excessively focused on history and has a strong anti-Japanese tone. Japan has urged countries to carefully consider whether their leaders should attend in order to prevent China's narrative of history from spreading more widely in the international community. Since Japan has considerable influence in Asia, the outside world is watching to see whether Japan will also persuade Indonesia, Malaysia, and Vietnam not to send their heads of state to attend. In particular, in recent days, German Foreign Minister Annalena Baerbock has visited both Japan and Indonesia. Baerbock made some anti-China remarks, and there were even rumors that she would help Japan lobby Indonesian President Prabowo not to attend the September 3rd military parade in Beijing. However, judging from the outcome, Japan's actions were in vain. The major Asian countries were unmoved and continued to maintain mutually beneficial relations as usual. Additionally, what's particularly noteworthy is that former Japanese Prime Minister Yukio Hatoyama will also attend the military parade in Beijing. Yukio Hatoyama from Japan's Democratic Party is regarded as a pro-China figure in Japan and has always maintained friendly relations with the Chinese government. After he was elected, he immediately made it clear that he would not visit the Yasukuni Shrine, and the subsequent Democratic Party government followed this approach as well. In December 2000 and again in June 2002, Yukio Hatoyama visited China twice as the leader of Japan's Democratic Party, holding talks with then Chinese President Jiang Zemin. In June this year, Yukio Hatoyama withdrew from the Democratic Party of Japan before the Japanese elections, likely to avoid having his own stance affect the party's electoral prospects. Although Yukio Hatoyama is considered unconventional rather than mainstream in Japan, his actions also demonstrate that there are some people in Japan who deeply reflect on the lessons of World War II and sincerely oppose that war of aggression. In addition, I'd like to talk about the recent buzz regarding China's vigorous push to independently develop AI chips. Related stocks such as AI chip stocks, Cambricon, and chip manufacturing stock, SMIC, have surged significantly, carrying a sense of being a tribute to the September 3rd military parade. On August 17th, the Financial Times quoted informed sources as saying that Chinese chip manufacturers plan to triple the country's total AI chip production next year compared to the current level in order to accelerate the reduction of reliance on NVIDIA chips. Sources say that a foundry specializing in producing AI processors for leading domestic companies is making intensive preparations and could begin production as early as the end of this year. 2 other factories are also expected to begin operations next year. At the same time, Chinese companies are stepping up efforts to develop chips compatible with the standard advocated by the startup DeepSeek in order to produce the next generation of domestic AI chips. According to the Financial Times, DeepSeek released DeepSeek v3.1 last week, stating that this upgrade is the first step toward the era of agents or intelligent agents. DeepSeek said that this new version uses UE8MO and FP8 scale parameter precision and indicated that it is designed specifically for the next generation of domestic chips that will be released soon. FP8 is a type of 6-bit floating point format. In computers, storing and computing data is like putting items into boxes. Floating point numbers are a way to package decimals using specific rules. In the past, the AI industry used larger folders like FP32 or medium-sized ones like FP16 and so on. But this time, DeepSeek boldly used the smallest folder, FP8. Not only does FP8 precisely address the industry's urgent need for efficient yet low-power computation, it has also directly sparked a phenomenal wave of interest in low-precision computing, further fueling the domestic computing power race. The Financial Times stated that although Chinese chips lag behind NVIDIA's high-end products in terms of technology generation, DeepSeek's approach is expected to help Chinese AI companies compete with international rivals. The dual breakthroughs in chip production capacity and AI technology are creating a synergistic effect in China's AI chip industry. An executive from a Chinese chip manufacturer said that the shortage of domestic AI chip production capacity will not last long, especially since all the new capacity coming online next year can be put into production. Compared to the short-term easing of production capacity, the long-term value brought by industry collaboration is even more crucial. If deep compatibility between domestic chips and domestic AI models can be achieved, looking back in the future, we will find that this moment of transformation is truly another milestone in deep exploration. To achieve this goal, years of collaboration are needed between computing chip manufacturers, memory and connectivity hardware companies, as well as supporting software tool developers. According to the Financial Times, Chinese companies are also making efforts in these key areas, such as memory. Currently, the global memory market is dominated by Samsung and SK Hynix from South Korea and Micron from the United States, all three of which are subject to US export controls. However, leading Chinese memory companies have already made breakthroughs. According to two people familiar with the matter, China's leading memory companies are testing new products which are one generation behind the most advanced storage products used in NVIDIA chips. Strong policy support from the Chinese government has further boosted confidence in the AI industry. This week, the State Council of China explicitly stated that it will thoroughly implement artificial intelligence initiatives, promote the broad and deep integration of AI with various industries and sectors of the economy and society, facilitate a revolutionary leap in productivity and a profound transformation of production relations through new human lifestyles, and accelerate the formation of a new model of intelligent economy and intelligent society characterized by human-machine collaboration, cross-sector integration, and co-creation and sharing. According to the Financial Times, Liang Minfeng, founder of Deep Ball Speed, has previously stated that NVIDIA's leading position is not the achievement of a single company, but rather the result of the coordinated efforts of the entire Western society and industry. Similarly, the development of China's AI industry also requires such an ecosystem, and China needs people to stand at the forefront of this development. The Financial Times believes that with the combination of China's current capacity expansion, technological adaptation, and policy support, this goal is moving from vision to reality. Although companies like Deep Ball Speed still rely on NVIDIA's chip clusters for model training at present, as the performance of domestic chips improves and production capacity is unleashed, this situation may see a pivotal turning point as early as next year. The most notable aspect of the Financial Times report is that it mentions Chinese chip manufacturers will expand the production of AI chips to 3 times the current output. This news has a bit of an exported for re-import flavor, which has led to two seemingly contradictory phenomena. First, the United States has allowed NVIDIA to resume sales of H-series chips to China since early July. In addition, NVIDIA is developing a new type of AI chip for the Chinese market, tentatively named the B30A. This chip is based on NVIDIA's latest Blackwell architecture and offers better performance than the H-series chips. Trump has also stated that as long as the functionality of this new chip is 30 to 40% lower than what is used in the United States, he would not oppose selling it to China. Trump seems to believe that if expensive AI chips are not allowed to be sold to China, there will be no way to reduce the US trade deficit with China. Second, at the same time, China has also become more cautious in its attitude toward NVIDIA's H-series chips. On August 12th, Bloomberg quoted sources as saying that China has already instructed domestic companies to avoid using NVIDIA's H-series chips, especially for government and national security-related work. However, according to Reuters, China has not banned companies from purchasing H-series chips. It has only advised them to do so. Shortly after, the Financial Times reported that China's AI chip production capacity would triple, a piece of news that further fueled the Chinese stock market. Before the September 3rd military parade, the stock market continued to perform well. In conclusion, China and the US are engaged in a contest of strategies, but neither side is breaking off relations. China is vigorously encouraging domestic companies to use homegrown AI chips, while at the same time not prohibiting them from purchasing NVIDIA chips. However, the overall direction toward localization is expected to continue. If large models like DeepSeek keep innovating, and with breakthroughs in both AI technology and chip production capacity, China is likely to forge its own path in AI development. In addition, on Xiliutai Current Affairs Commentary, I will talk about how Chinese students are now flocking to study in Russia to avoid visa restrictions in the UK and the US. And the surge in demand for Chinese clothing has also made it much easier for Chinese students in Russia to find jobs after graduation. Subscribers are welcome to listen to my commentary on